back to Scott Swing Sports, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back here by myself today. My dad's at work, and it's time to do my 2023 NFL mock draft. I will actually be in Kansas City tomorrow night for the first round and the second and third round of the NFL draft this weekend, so I'm very excited. I've been waiting for this since I was about 12 years old to go to the NFL draft, so this is absolutely a dream come true. And it's my birthday on Saturday, so life is good for Scott Lennard right now. So let's get into my predictions right now. The first pick belongs to the Carolina Panthers after trading up from number 9 to number 1 earlier in the month after trading with the Chicago Bears. I believe they will take Bryce Young out of Alabama as the number 1 overall pick. I think Bryce Young is the best quarterback on the board, and I think he is going to be the best player in this draft, possibly. So we'll see what that happens. Pick number 2, the Houston Texans are on the clock, and this is going to be a little bit of a surprise to some people, but I'm going to go with Will Anderson out of Alabama here. I think they're going to wait on their quarterback right here. I think the Houston Texans are going to wait for their second first-round pick to grab their quarterback, and I believe that will be the way that the Houston Texans go here, so I'm going to go with that. The next pick in the NFL draft belongs to the Arizona Cardinals, and I believe the Cardinals are going to go with a, let's see if I can find them on here. Yeah, there he is. Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech, I think, is the right choice here. I think he's the next best player on the board, and I think that he'll go number 3 overall to the Arizona Cardinals. The top 3 picks are expected to go as is. With the number 4 pick overall, the Indianapolis Colts, I think, will make the smart pick here and go with C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State. I think their love affair with Will Levis is going to be definitely a thing to watch out for in this draft. But with C.J. Stroud still sitting there at number 4, I think that is the correct pick for the Indianapolis Colts. With the 5th pick overall, the Seattle Seahawks are on the board after having a very good, surprising year last year with Geno Smith last year. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Jalen Carter out of Georgia. I think the speeding problem that he had in his car before the draft should be no problem here. I think I don't think teams are really going to worry about that. So I'm going to go with Jalen Carter out of Georgia, pick number 5. Pick number 6, the Detroit Lions are on the clock after having a very nice season. Let's see here. I think they're going to take the first offensive tackle of the draft. I think Jared Goff is good. You know what? Actually, I think they're going to take the next quarterback on the board. That will be Will Levis out of Kentucky. I think they don't know how much longer they can have Jared Goff starting. So I think maybe sitting Will Levis down for a year, learning under Jared Goff, who has not had a great NFL career coming out of the University of California. I think he will be the next pick out of the quarterbacks. Next up, pick number 7, the Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock next. And I think they're going to take the first corner on the board, Devin Witherspoon out of the University of Illinois. I think the Raiders need help on pretty much everywhere on that team right now, especially not quarterback. I think Jimmy G will be just fine for the Raiders this year. Pick number 8, the Atlanta Falcons are on the board next. And I believe that they will take... they need help a lot of places here, so I think they're going to go with the best player available. And let's see. I think they will go with you know what? I think they're going to take Anthony Richardson out of Florida here. I think he's the last quarterback to go here in the first round, possibly. So I think AR-15 will go to Atlanta. I think he is a guy that that a lot of people know. Is not going to be a one guy that's going to learn things really fast in the NFL. I think he's going to be a guy who sits out a year probably with Desmond Ritter starting in Atlanta, and then I think once they find out that Desmond Ritter's either good or bad, they're going to go with Richardson. So Anthony Richardson would be my pick there, number 8. Next, I pick number 9. The Chicago Bears are on the clock next, and I think they're going to go with the best player available for them right here, and that would be let's see here. Let's see. I think they're going to go with the Northwestern kid, the offensive tackle, Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern here. I think he's went to play college at Northwestern, so it's not that long of a jump over to Chicago. And then they got to protect Justin Fields, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL last season. Next up, with number 10, the Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock next. And I think they would love to see a wide receiver here, but I think it's too early in the draft to take one of these wide receivers because I don't think the wide receiver group is as good as it has been over the years here in 2023. So I think they're going to take Bijan Robinson out of the University of Texas. I think the running back is going to be the correct choice here for the Eagles. At pick number 11, the Tennessee Titans are on the clock next. And I think they will take Paris Johnson out of the University of Ohio State, the offensive tackle. I think that would be the correct choice for them. At pick number 12, the Houston Texans are going to be very upset that they let all the quarterbacks go before they came up here at number 12 until they see Hendon Hooker sitting there out of the University of Tennessee. That's who they'll probably take here at number 12. But I would not be surprised to see a quarterback still sit there out of the top 4. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee will be the pick for the Houston Texans. I think they're going to reach for him a little bit here. Even though he did tear his ACL back in November, I think that'll be the correct pick for the Houston Texans. Next up, the Green Bay Packers are on the clock next after trading Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. I think they are going to take the best receiver on the board here, and that would be Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State. I think he is the best wide receiver on the board. So I think that's where they will go here at number 13 overall. Next up, the New England Patriots are on the clock next. And I think they're going to go with one of the last 3 offensive tackles in this draft. And that would be Broderick Jones out of Georgia. I think he is the next best offensive lineman on the board. I would love to see the Bucs draft him at number 19, but I don't think he's going to last to us because we desperately need a left tackle. So I think that's going to hurt us a little bit, seeing him go. Next up, the New York Jets are on the clock after gaining Aaron Rodgers earlier in the week. I think they need to protect Aaron Rodgers. I think they're going to protect Aaron Rodgers here. And I think they're going to go with Darnell Wright out of the University of Tennessee. Unfortunately, I think, again, another guy the Bucs would love to have there at 19, but again, I think he's going to go a little earlier than expected. I think a lot of people expect him to go before the Bucs go, so I think that's going to hurt us a little bit. Next up, the Washington Commanders are on the clock next. And I think they're going to take the best edge rusher on the board, and that would be Lucas Van Ness out of the University of Iowa. The Bucs drafted him. I'd be very okay with it. I think he looked very good last year in a very good Iowa defense last season for Kirk Ferentz out there in Iowa. So I'm going to go with that. Next up, number 17 overall, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock next. And I believe they will go with Christian Gonzalez out of the University of Oregon. He probably will go earlier than I have him, but all these names are just separated by rankings, so it's a little bit harder for me to find these guys on the board here. So with pick number 18 overall, the Detroit Lions are on the clock next. And I think they're going to go with a second-generation guy here, Joey Porter out of the University of Penn State. I think his dad played very well in the NFL. With pick number 19 overall, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the clock next. A lot of Bucs fans are wanting a tight end here to help out Baker Mayfield and give him somebody to throw to down the middle of the field. But I think we're going to take the last offensive tackle still with a first-round talent on the board here. That'll be Anton Harrison out of the University of Oklahoma. A little bit of a reach. He's ranked 24th overall, so a little bit of a reach there, taking him at 19. But that should be okay for us. I think he should be okay with that. All right. The next pick overall, the Seattle Seahawks are on the board next with their second first-round pick. They need help on the interior offensive line. They need help a lot of places here. And unfortunately for Jaguar fans, I think the guy that they want is going to be taken here at number 20. That would be Osiris Torrance out of the University of Florida. I think they need help at the guard position. I gave the Seahawks a guard and a defensive lineman, so two of the biggest needs for the Seattle Seahawks have been helped out by the NFL draft. Next up, my buddy Kyle Hyman says LA Chargers are on the clock next. And tough pick here, but I'm going to go with Quentin Johnson out of TCU. I think he is the next best receiver on the board. I think that's what they need right now. I think they need a receiver to go along with Mike Williams on the other, to go along with Keenan Allen on the other side of the field. So I think that's where they will go here at number 21 overall to the Los Angeles Chargers. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens are on the clock next, and unfortunately they have no offensive linemen still sitting there to help out Lamar Jackson. But they do have some receivers that I think could be first-round talents here. So I think that's where they will go here. I'm going to go with Jordan Addison out of the USC. I think he's the next best receiver on the board. So I think that's where they will go here at number 22 overall. Number 23, the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock next. They need help on the defensive side of the football for sure. Their defense was horrible last year. One of the worst defenses in the NFL last season. They need help everywhere on that defense. But they're going to go with Deonte Banks out of the University of Maryland. Let me see here. Actually, they're going to go with Kalijah Kancey out of the University of Pittsburgh. I think he's the next best defensive lineman on the board. And I think that they need him. So I think that'll be the next pick for the Minnesota Vikings. Next up at number 24, the edge rushers will start going here. With pick number 24, the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock next. And I think that they will go with Nolan Smith out of Georgia. I think he's the best edge rusher in this draft. So I think that's where they will go here at number 24 overall to Jacksonville. Next up, number 25 overall, the New York Football Giants, who had a very surprisingly good season last year. Stuff between a wide receiver and a safety here. But I think they're going to go with the wide receiver here. I think they'll take the last first-round wide receiver here. That'll be Zay Flowers out of Boston College. I think he's the last first-round offensive wide receiver that I have in this draft. So I think Zay Flowers will go 25 overall to the New York Giants. Next up, number 26 overall, the Dallas Cowboys are on the clock after a very good season, finally winning a road playoff game this year after beating my Bucs in the playoffs last season. And I think it's going to be Deonte Banks here out of the University of Maryland. I think he's the next best player on the board. And I think that's where they will go here at number 26. Next up, number 27 on the board. The Buffalo Bills are on the clock next. And I think they're going to go with Ryan Brees out of the University of Clemson. I think played very well for Dabo Swinney. So I think that's where they will go here. Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock next, and they need help in the back end of their defense, is what the NFL Network is telling me. So that's what I'll trust here. I'm going to go with Brian Branch out of Alabama. He's the best safety on the board. So I think that's where they will go here at number 26. Number 27. Number 29, I unfortunately gave them Dalton Kincaid. I didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. Next pick overall to the New Orleans Saints, Dalton Kincaid. I think they need help in the middle of the field for Derek Carr, so I think that's what they'll do here. Number 30 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles, the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles, need help on the defensive line. They need a pass rusher. So I think they're going to go with Myles Murphy out of Clemson. I think he's the next best available player. And next up, the hosts of the NFL Draft, the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, will finish out the first round of the NFL Draft. And I think this will be a trade-off scenario here. I think somebody's going to trade up to get a player that they want with that extra year of the contract. And we'll see what happens here, but I think they're going to, if they keep the pick, let's see. I think they'll go Will McDonald out of Iowa State, and they need help on that defensive line. So that will do it for this episode of Scott's Weekend Sports Today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back here in a few months, possibly, with my NFL and college football preseason record predictions. And I will be right back here whenever I see you guys again on Scott's Weekend Sports. See you later, guys.